All right, so this one might be good. Inside Star Citizen favoring the bold. I've heard, and it's been what I've been asking for. Talk to me about selling. That's what I want to hear about. So, here we go. Looking forward to this one, big time.
I think we all can agree that looting was definitely a great addition to Star Citizen.
Yes.
I love that players are exploring and looking for interesting stuff around the universe. For 3.17, loot is going to be much more exciting and valuable for all the players.
How are you going to make it like, are just applying a value to the loot doesn't make it valuable?
Up until right now, players got the same loot in different locations, so you could go.
Oh, this is Sammy. Oh, okay. So that's so cool. It's really awesome to put a face to the name. Sammy has been on our Discord, and I've talked to him about mining. I've talked to him. He's so welcome to the feedback and so open and so friendly. Oh, dude, I love this guy. Oh, this is so cool. I knew he was working on this.
Go to Korea or a cave or an outpost and potentially have the same content.
We disagreed on something, though.
3.17, though, we are changing that, and now we are tailoring the content for each location. The other idea.
This is something I specifically told to him, too. I don't think I'm the one who made any change to this. I think everybody wants this. And including them, I think they wanted this the whole time. It just takes time to do it. But that was something that was like mega important to me, is if you go down to a bunker, the bunker should have things related to that bunker, right? Whatever it is. If you go down to a cave, you would think that there would be like gems in boxes or whatever they would be doing in that cave, right? It would just make sense. And obviously there would be like food and drink as well. But
addition, because up until right now, all the content was considered common content that you could even buy in shops. We are now adding the concept of rarity. We have 3 different types of rarity, so it's the common one, the uncommon one, and rare one.
Nice.
The uncommon one is going to be items that are not available in the shops anymore. For example, security armor or pirate armor, it's content that it's specific for a group of people. In order to make...
I want to hear it again, because he said security armor and some other armor.
Security armor or pirate armor, it's content that...
And what armor? I didn't catch that one. Pirate armor. Okay,
specific for a group of people.
So the Ninetales colors basically. Yeah, okay.
In order to make rarity a viable option, it was always the intent to remove some of the items from the shops.
It was always their intent. Nice.
And the rare items definitely are the ones that are going to be more exciting for everyone, for sure. Don't expect to have a high percentage of spawning. We are very keen into spawn only a little bit of them.
Okay.
But rare items, we are applying more or less the same philosophy with ships. So eventually rare items will end up in the loot pool and can be found in different lootable crates.
All right, so just a little clarity on this. I don't know if they're going to clarify it in the video or not, but Jake, community manager Jake, clarified it in our Discord last night, and I just happened to see it. I haven't seen the video yet, but I did see Jake's messages. When he says rare items, he's talking about items that are purchased on the store. Subscriber items, those kind of things. Subscriber armor, that stuff. So when you purchase them on the website, you're going to have a period of time where you are the only one who has those things because they're purchased. And then after a period of time, I guess they're going to end up in the loot pool. They're also removing a bunch of items from in-game shops, they said elsewhere. No, he just said it. Those are the common items. I don't know what common items is referred as yet. But how I always looked at it as, I feel like this is just my vision for it, and it's my own and nobody else's, I'm sure. I thought it would make sense to be like, all right, the only thing that you could buy in a shop is like light armor for a period of time. And then when you gain more reputation and are doing more dangerous jobs for a company, maybe you would have the ability to get medium armor and then heavy armor, like that kind of thing. That's sort of what I thought, but yeah, they might have different ideas. I don't know what common means yet.
Obviously, with looting becoming such a big feature in the game, we kind of need an ability for you to sell the loot that you've been acquiring this whole time. To do that, we're going to be updating the shop system and item shops with a brand new kiosk that will have a much improved user experience that will allow you to sell your various items. So for 317, the system determining what can be sold where and for how much is going to be very simple. Basically, if a shop sells an item of a certain type, they sell guns, they sell ship parts.
Okay, this is the one thing that I think I'm still super confused by, is they have the ability to sell ship weapons, and nobody really gave me like, I saw this picture in Discord, and I'm like, so I can sell, like, all of the crappy ship weapons that come on my stock ships that I may not want. And, like, it wasn't very clear. I thought it was just... yeah, like, apparently this is placeholder, so...
You can then sell to that shop items of that type. The pricing will be as follows. It will start at 90% of the price that the shop sells it for, and depending on their current inventory, it will fall down to 50%, with 50% being that they are absolutely full on that item. If they do not have that exact item in their inventory, you will default down to 50% because, frankly, they don't really want to stock that thing anyways. Rarity, of course, will come into play for this, but basically the base prices of items will help to determine how much they sell for. There has been a small pass to just kind of update some of these prices to fall within line of the fact that certain items now can't be found in stores, and certain items are going to be very difficult to find in the boxes throughout the world. And of course, the Pico Balls will be the most valuable item in all of the Persistent universe. One of the features that we're really happy that we included in this is when you are selling something with attachments, you can, on the spot, go through and detach those attachments.
I can't with that.
In the selling interface so that they don't get sold. Let's say that you're trying to sell a sniper rifle and you have a really nice scope on it. You will see that when you go to make that transaction.
Oh, that's super smart.
Say,
and hey, I want to keep the magazine. Yeah, I don't want the gun, but I certainly want the ammo. That's
one
cool.
problem that we are aware of in all interfaces that deal with items of this type is stacking. The stacking system in personal inventory and in now this shop screen, which uses the same stacking method, means that it can be a little annoying to move large quantities of the same item. We don't have an immediate perfect solution for that where we can stack items that are identical, but in the short term we did a little solution where there's just a quick sell button on each item in the list. Fair warning to all of you, there is no buyback button at this time, so if you sell something, it is gone. Be careful. And of course, with inventory...
How can they not do stacking? That's like... This is like the type of stuff where you go like, okay, yeah, we put the inventory system in, and like, I understand it's not going to be perfect, but how was stacking not like a part of it? That was like, and it's still not a part of it. It's kind of crazy.
Where we want it to go in the future, we want it to be that as you are selling these items, it is affecting the inventory of the store so that it is becoming more and more that other players can then purchase. We're not clear as the time of this recording if that's going to make it for 317, but that is definitely a goal going forward. We're going to be monitoring both how you guys are using this new kiosk and how many things you're selling in order to help balance both the amount of loot and how much each piece of loot sells for.
That's cool.
We also are very interested in any feedback that comes in for the user experience of that selling, so please let us know how things are going. We are listening, and this is going to be something
Stack
that
items.
we're going to be very
That's like the
interested
only
in making,
feedback you need. Holy
a better
shit.
and better experience as time goes on.
Just stack the items.
The advancements in loot generation and implementation of selling are two key aspects of any MMO, and their arrival in Star Citizen heralds a continuing push to reward players for venturing out into that dangerous unknown to seek their fortunes. And because the unknown can be so hazardous, let's take a look now at the current state of medical gameplay. What's
All right, this is cool. I'm looking forward to this too. But let's go back to the inventory stuff. I thought I would have been excited by this more, but I just look at it as selling is very much a piece of the puzzle, but the glue that connects all the pieces just isn't there yet, and that's like the economy, which they kind of are admittedly fudging at the moment with this inventory system, but it's a way better solution than what we currently have, where everything's just kind of the same. And the real issue here is that rarity isn't the only thing that defines something's value. It's usability, it's value to the player outside of its monetary value. So while this is like the right step, there's still one massive step that needs to happen for this game to become an actual like sort of like game to me. Is I'll give a scenario to kind of explain myself here a little bit more. Is going down to a bunker, hoping, to do the mission sort of, but to also hopefully find what you're looking for. And that specific thing that you're looking for to enhance your experience. Maybe a certain attachment, maybe a certain weapon, maybe a certain piece of armor. But the way things are currently, most of the weapon attachments don't apply a significant enough change to the weapon to even be worth looking for, purchasing, adding to your inventory. And, I think ships do it well. Like something like a quantum drive, having to work towards those really good quantum drives because it makes such a significant difference on your experience is sort of what I think needs to be applied more to the FPS and all the little loot that we find there, right? I think that's the kind of piece to the puzzle that's missing in this little personal inventory system. And I think that's why I'm not as excited as I normally would be. But I am excited for the future of Star Citizen because this is absolutely the right direction. But we still have some time before we are really there. So I'm not upset by anything. I don't think anything is wrong. It's just we're still not there yet, but we're going in the right direction for sure.
It's being adjusted for Alpha 3.17, and what's on the horizon after that?
So the response to healing was quite heartening.
There was some really good community engagement around the feature. I remember at one stage on Reddit, I think it was even before the feature was released, someone had posted a survival guide, and it was just really cool to see how excited people were about the feature.
It's a really expansive system, so there's lots of different parts, and it was a lot to sort of get everything working.
What? Okay. I'm glad they're excited. I'm glad some people were excited. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be mean. But the whole thing was broken. The whole thing is broken, right? So, yeah. I'll listen to the guy who says relax, they address it.
It was great to see that people were happy and excited about various aspects of the healing.
The medical bed UI in particular, which is the main thing I worked on, has
the medical bed was
depth
cool
to it in terms of adding to the feeling that it's a real hospital and a real place, and you can do sort of, you're really healing yourself.
Agreed.
I really enjoy the fact that there is some consequence to death now, that there's a sense of continuity. I don't just die and magically respawn somewhere. My corpse is something I now have to go and find if I've put something in.
If it's not underground and, my corpse marker isn't 12 million kilometers away in the center of the galaxy for some reason, sure. Yeah, then there's consequence. Oh yeah, there's also consequence if the actual items that are on me are worth a shit, which 99% of the time they're not. So hopefully this selling of things, or I don't know, we'll eventually get there. But the bugs with the system made a lot of issues where, like, the consequences didn't really meet the expectations that they set out for there to be.
Important on it. What we worked on is a T0 implementation, so it's bare bones. There's so much more to do.
Yes, definitely.
There are a few things we've fixed since then that should be coming out in 3.17.
Okay.
We've had feedback saying that bleed is too harsh, and absolutely we've addressed that. It was unfortunately an oversight on our part, and we've reduced the severity of bleeding, so you won't start bleeding then, keel over 2 seconds later.
Yo, easily the biggest change. I'm glad they said it first. That is by far the biggest change. That's awesome. Because, my goodness, it gives you no opportunity for survival, right? It's just, like, insane. Mike, what is he saying? What? You can't understand him? He's literally English. He said that they removed bleed. Like, they didn't remove it. They slowed down the effect of bleed because it was way too fast. He's mumbling a bit. I'll turn it up a little bit more.
Instant death, we never want to have someone fall over and die immediately from a single pistol shot to the head, or the foot. We've covered a couple of issues that were causing that. So 3.17, we should see that removed entirely.
Okay, that's
also
big.
Feedback regarding sort of.
That's my biggest issue with it. Is dying instantly, too quickly to FPS, and not only that, but dying and not being in a down state way too often. And then my next one would be, you don't get injured until after you wake up from your down state. It makes no sense. So all the other med pens have no purpose. And that's what I meant by it's super broken earlier.
And also the status system in general, just not persisting between play sessions.
So yeah, now between logins, most of your stats will persist, your health, your injuries, your hunger and thirst, so we'll see that gameplay back in the PU properly.
Oh wow, nice.
We've also had some feedback regarding the crime stats. This was one that I hadn't encountered, but sort of face palmed when I saw it. If you ram your own corpse with a ship, you get a crime rating for it, and that's...
What? What?
That's not obviously great. It's sort of an extra kick to your dignity. But thankfully, the Mission Future Team guys have really drilled into that and fixed it. So 3.17, that humiliation should be removed, thankfully.
For the injuries not being seen enough, we've also added a bit of probability into it.
If you jump off a tree, there's every chance you're going to snap every bone in your body, or you're going to land like a cat. So we've introduced a little bit of a random element that doesn't scale linearly to try and achieve that. And it's really worked out, I think, quite well. We're seeing injuries more often, and it's not always at a gamified value that you reach.
What's wrong with it being a gamified value that you reach? You just need to make it, if I get shot in the arm, my arm is going to break. Right? Like, what is so wrong with making a video game? I don't understand. Like, that's one thing is, like, I'm confused by that. Maybe that makes sense to some of you guys. I'm confused by that one. If I get shot in the arm, I think it totally makes sense to have your arm break or your arm bleed, or there be issues that I have to use some sort of medical situation to resolve that arm, right? Easy peasy, right? If I get shot in the chest, same deal. There should be different solutions to fix that. They kind of have that with their silly colored med pens and not really like how I would like to see it, but the system is there, and it's not being utilized because simply you don't see the injuries. I'm glad they're making them more often, but again, I think they kind of are missing the point. You should get the injuries before you go down, not after. It should be something where, like, in the moment, it's like, oh my god, my arm broke, let me deal with my broken arm, right? Not the, I'm downed, hold on, friend, wait till I get up. Oh, I'm up. Oh, my arm is broken? Oh, no. It's just kind of weird.
beyond 317, there are other things we want to get into. We want to make improvements. Body dragging, for example, we know that's not exactly great right now. If you want to drag someone into an elevator, it can be a bit hit or miss. We're definitely looking to improve that. Some people just don't care about injuries because they just mash the die button and then respawn in their ship and then, haha, they move on. That won't be possible moving forward once we get some really big changes in. And again, this is quite a ways away, but things like permadeath, DNA degradation, being charged to respawn, the idea of your character dying forever and just having to spawn next to kin. Those are all things we're fairly confident they're going to be coming in at some point in the distant future. The manner in which they come in, we've got an idea of how they're going to be developed and also how they're going to function. We have had lots of other feedback that I haven't covered so far, and the reason I've not addressed is because we don't yet have a solid idea of how we're going to address that, and we don't want to make any promises that we're not going to fulfill.
So what?
Yo, that's all fine, but I think they're like entirely missing the point that the items and I like the idea of like being charged to go to the hospital or whatever, but you shouldn't be charged if you go into your own ship. Maybe you should be charged medical supplies from your own ship to respawn, right? Things that you need to have in the inventory of your ship in order to respawn. Otherwise, you'll get sent to the hospital and be charged. Things like that, like the whole idea of they think that death of a spaceman is the solution to people not wanting to die, but in reality, it's the actual loss of progression and the items, and I guess death of a spaceman is part of that. But let's say like in an FPS situation or even in a ship situation, the punishments should really be the things that you have on you really wanting to not lose them. I think that's where Escape from Tarkov is very successful. I think that's where Escape from Tarkov is very successful, is they have a really good insurance system where sometimes you get the items back, sometimes you don't. You don't really know. The insurance comes in, oh shit, I got my gun back, awesome. But in that moment, you can't use that stuff anymore. And I don't know. I've always spoken about that system as I think being the good thing, but I think the issue here is that every upgrade you make to your ships, you never lose, and the FPS equipment has zero value to the player because it's pretty much, not entirely, the same all the way across the board. Every light armor is the same, every medium armor is the same, every heavy armor is the same values. The only difference in some of them, I think, is your hot and cold values. I think like that entire thing somebody needs to change. Now, they don't need to change it today, but what I'm saying is they make these claims like, I think Death of a Spaceman is going to change all these things, when there are very simple things you could do today to change those things. I don't expect them to do it, but I do think that they should. I think there should be somebody, and there should be a team of people that work at this company that are, and this is what I mean by, I've talked about this in the past, is moving a little bit, like if this is Star Citizen is an alpha, and this is Star Citizen is a live service, we're like the way the game is treated is probably like right here, and it needs to be like right here, somewhere in the middle, right? And like the way I think they should shift more to the live service is, there are people that work at that company that should be going through and changing the values of everything that we have, and creating value for the things that are in the game. Creating like, man, I really want that item and I want to work for it. I don't think we're there yet. I think we need to get the reputation system in a place where it can support something like that, because there's no point in having like randomized really good armors or really good weapons that might just show up in a loot box, right? Sure, sometimes, but I think that there should be a system of, I've earned this item, right? So that's why I'm okay with it not happening now. But I hope that's the direction we're going in, and like that's something if I wanted to see one thing in 2022, that's what I would have wanted to see. So let's hear Jared's outro here before we go, though.
What did we learn this week? Well, we
Fuel
learned
is
that
definitely
loot
one of those
expanding
things.
into both rarity and variation, beginning with Alpha 317 and beyond. that when combined with selling, a loop emerges to make your living as a potential treasure hunter. And that medical gameplay continues to evolve with your feedback and testing, and there's plenty more yet still to come. Now remember that Stella Fortuna is upon us, and there are some really nice vehicle paints that you can learn more about on the robertspacindustries.com website. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. We'll see you all next week.
Oh man, I love that they're selling paint, but I don't like that they're selling them just exclusively for ships. It's really silly, because I like that color, right? But I can't buy it because I don't have either of those two ships. I feel like it's just like a loss for CIG. Like they're literally losing money doing it this way. Because I would buy those. I honestly would. I think they're cool colors. So, sad, but it is what it is. Well, that was an interesting episode. It just feels like in every way they're going in the right direction, man. It's just, do we have the patience to wait it out? The more I see them going in the right direction, the more I gain patience, but the less I'm interested in playing the current experience. Does that make sense? The more I realize that I like the direction they're going in, the less I want to play the game. Because I'm waiting for these things to mature. There's been very few years where I liked the direction that they were going in. It just seemed like they weren't going in any direction at all other than building visuals, and now it does seem like they want to have the player experience be better. It just is taking more time than we would all like it to. And yeah, I feel like I'm gaining more patience, but I'm less interested in playing the game in the state that it's in while I wait. Let me know what you guys think about that, but that's the more excited I am about the future, the less excited I am about the present.